Just so you got a visual, just so you've got it. Just so you got a little visual idea of what happened to your beloved partner. Hopefully this will bring you some peace. You just bring out an empty bowl, you crack open a can of Campbell's tomato soup and just pour it into the bowl.
Did it to bond with his dad for father.
Oh, he bonded with his dad, alright. Dude, where's the faces? Come on. Dude. Oh, dude, that's the last thing you saw. Looking at the other guy in the tube. Okay, we're gonna watch two. We're gonna watch the graphic version, and then we're gonna watch this version. Okay. Dude, this was classic when it happened, man. So good, man. Do you remember this? Do you remember this when it happened? Dude, this is such a good drama when it happened, right? Because obviously there was this perception or this news story of like, you know, oh yeah, man, they've got this much oxygen left. We just need to find them. They're probably sitting on the ocean floor somewhere. Meanwhile, they'd already gone through this. This had already happened to them.
Okay, innuendo. Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you, Simon Medley, for the super chat. They were thinking they had oxygen, but they'd already been squished to bits under the immense pressure of the ocean. It's so stupid, man. Oh, guys, we've got reports here. There's only 24 hours left of oxygen. Meanwhile, they're just a pile of fleshy detritus on the ocean floor, getting nibbled at by a fish. Anyway, I saw this and it piqued my interest. So that's why, you know, I thought we'd watch this. This might be fun. Lauren the Mortician is going to tell us what really happens to the human body. Let's have a look. Little palate cleanser. Oh.
Okay, that's
2 years
wonderful.
ago,
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Hey!
Stream to Chud laughing at rich people imploding. It's pride. Where's the trans tent?
Beckett, thank you for the super chats.
submersible called the Titan imploded while descending to the Titanic. 5 people, instant death, a pressure so intense it would turn the human body into something unrecognizable. I made a video back then that went viral because I said what a lot of people were thinking but were too uncomfortable to say out loud.
It's just so horrendous the way they describe it. It's so fucking horrendous, dude. And they just describe it in these terms. Imagine if you were one of the family members watching this. That was the thing. It was so funny at the time. You had these videos of these horrific looking implosions and like a body getting swished to bits and blood flying everywhere. Just the idea of someone sat there on like a boat somewhere being like, we've got an artist's impression of what happened to your beloved father. We're just gonna play this for you so you can at least maybe find some peace in that. And it's just this absolutely insane compression video with these muscular bodies getting squished. Why am I deranged, bro? I'm sorry to say that your beloved has been atomized. Literally the equivalent of atomized. Am I bad for laughing? Should I not be laughing at this? What's the problem exactly? Dude, how can you... Dude. I need to reset your memory of this. These people agreed to get into a metal tube because some fucking retard cut corners and said it was safe and it was built out of fucking, carbon fiber. And it wasn't safe. And there was whole, lack of hull integrity. And then they went down and it imploded and a bunch of billionaires got squished to bits. And you're... A bunch of super wealthy millionaires and billionaires got misled by some retard into going to see the Titanic in a carbon fiber tube that had integrity issues, and they got squished into atoms, and you're laughing.
That's wonderful.
What do you mean, dude? Am I genuinely not supposed to laugh at this?
Have you seen the video of the billionaire's wife hearing the pop of them getting squished and she's like, huh? What was that?
Yes, dude. That was your husband. That was your husband turning into a can of tomato soup. Dude, what? Is this bad? Am I not supposed to do this? I know I can't do it about suicide stuff. Right? Okay. Just so you got a visual, just so you got a little visual idea of what happened to your beloved partner. Hopefully this will bring you some peace. You just bring out an empty bowl, you crack open a can of Campbell's tomato soup and just fucking pour it into the bowl. Probably looks something like that, to be honest. Obviously scattered over the ocean floor. Something like, imagine that, and that'll hopefully bring you some semblance of you know, you'll be able to, you know, mourn that in some way.
Loud. It's kind of usual for me. I don't believe they were ever going to recover remains, the bodies. And honestly, 2 years later, I still don't believe they recovered anything. After news broke that they had recovered the submersible, people ran to my page and they were like,
you can't see a single thing, bro. There's nothing left, dude. There's nothing there. There's not even like a piece of clothing. It's just for somewhere on the ocean floor, I'm guessing. Because like leather, like in the Titanic, the leather shoes are still there. Where the body's floated down, you see like a pair of leather shoes because they're like not going away. That's where the body was. There's not even that in this instance.
said they weren't going to recover human remains. And I'm like, yes. And what human remains did they recover? Because they never actually said.
Is this what's left? Is this what they found? There might be a couple of his cells in there somewhere, maybe. I don't know, dude. That's what they brought up. It is crazy. There's not even any discernible flesh or anything. You'd have to like test it for like DNA or something. Might be a couple of strands of his DNA there. Just there, if you went in on a super-powered microscope, you see a strand of his DNA.
And I swear to you, I don't think they found it.
They just scooped up a bunch of that material, chucked it in a coffin and called it a day. Yeah, we sealed it for health reasons, but he's in there. There's just a bunch of shit they've dug up off the ocean floor. What is wrong with me? Well, I don't understand. Should I feel bad for this? This is just normal for me, isn't it?
I think they literally just said that so the media would back off. This was a media circus storm. Is that a thing, a circus storm? I don't know, but it is now. They built up when we knew these people would run out of air, even though they already knew that they were dead. And now the Coast Guard just gave us, oh, yeah, we found human remains. And
yeah, dude, this was such an insane story because I even bought into it a bit. I know, I listened to some of the reports and I thought, well, they're probably dead, aren't they, if they're that far under the ocean? But there was this hope that was given. 24 hours left, guys. Like they were just sat there at the bottom, just, oh, hopefully, we've only got 24 hours left, guys. Fuck, what are we going to do? Don't worry, someone's going to be able to get us soon. Don't worry about it. Playing a harmonica or something.
And that was it. But what did you find? Morbid me
wonderful.
Wants to
But how
know.
do I
What
make
did you
money
find?
off
I am
depressed people.
How am I deranged? As we're 3 minutes into this video and you've stopped like 8 times to make protracted, well-illustrated jokes and you pause to laugh after every 7th
Okay, that's
word.
wonderful. But
Thank you,
how do I make
Stylo.
money
Keeping me in
off
check.
depressed people?
Thank you.
Chud, what is wrong with you, man? Have some empathy. A mother is grieving from a 19-year-old kid who didn't even want to be there.
Bro,
Shame.
that's not my fault, right? First of all, I'm pretty sure that person was some flavour of Indian. And secondly, wasn't it his dad that fucking convinced him to come along? That's on him then. Obviously, he can't really feel any much about it now because his brain is in a billion pieces on the ocean floor at the moment. But that's on him. That's not on me. Maybe he shouldn't have fucking got his son to come
that's
along
wonderful.
to some
But
crazy
how do I
thing.
make money off depressed people?
Thank you.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Buried an egg.
He turned him into fucking Pasander. Dude, what the fuck? Okay, stop it. Thank you, guys, for the support. Appreciate it.
Telling you from the bottom of my heart, I don't think they found anything.
Okay,
I think
that's
it was
wonderful.
a lie. I
But
think
how
it
do
was
I
just
make
told to
money
us to
off
end
depressed
the
people?
story.
Was the
The epic
ethnicity of the
conclusion.
OceanGate found?
Thank you for the
They
super chat, Banana
didn't
Bender.
find anything. And the truth is that we're never going to know the full truth because we only
Bro, okay. Just to kind of analyze this a bit, right? The reason this is so funny to me is the media clearly presented this narrative that they had this air, right? And they were going to survive and they were going to be okay. And all we need to do is find them, right? And then it turned out they'd been mulched to pieces, to a billion pieces. And the media didn't really have anything for that, right? They were expecting something different or presenting it as if something different was going to happen. And what the fuck is the media supposed to do after pushing this narrative of hope for days? And they then turn around and go, oh yeah, they got mulched to pieces and are on the fucking floor. I'm the one speaking the truth about what happened. From when it happened, I was playing the videos and laughing about it, right? The media are the ones that are fucked up, that painted this false hope, okay? I was straight on this. As soon as I'd found out that these people were dead, I was cracking jokes about it and playing those insane videos of them getting squished to bits, right? The media were the ones that were the true fucking degenerates of this because they didn't really have a follow-up and they just told cope stories about it after the fact.
know what they've told us and what the media has said. There's no autopsy report. There's no nothing. It just doesn't sit right with me. And today, I want to walk you through exactly what happens to a body in an implosion, what the media got wrong, and why the Little Mermaid might actually be the most accurate thing we've got. So let's get into it. Section 1, the timeline of the Titan.
Rescue team is on their way. Now with tweezers and a baggie.
Thank you for the super chat.
Let's go back to the beginning, because before we even got into science or recovery, we need to talk about what the public experienced. June 18th, 2023, the Titan sub launched into the North Atlantic. 5 people aboard.
Look at the water. Is that not funny? The way it's illustrated? It literally looks like a death tube. It looks like, you know those pods that those pods that you get where you go in it to be euthanized. It's like that, but for multiple occupancy, right? They stuff a bunch of you in there because you're all friends and you all want to do it, and then they just pump nitrogen into the atmosphere of the fucking death tube so you all die together. That's what it looks like.
Stockton Rush, Hamish Harding, Paul Henry Narglet, Shahzad Dawood, Sulman Dawood. They were heading to the Titanic wreck 2.4 miles below. The vessel had 96 hours of oxygen. That's what we were told. And the media ran with it. We were literally counting down the hours. News anchors breathlessly tracked oxygen levels like it was a game show. Only 40 hours left. They've got 12 hours left. Do you remember that? Does anyone else remember that? People were refreshing Twitter like it was a live sport. But the thing is, they were already gone.
Oh, dude, yes! This woman's talking sense. Maybe she wouldn't see the same comedic bent to it. But yes, this is what I'm getting at with this. The whole thing was so deranged. I'm a reflection of the derangement.
Communication with the...
Bro, look at that, bro.
But the thing is, they were...
Okay. This is what they were looking at down there, okay? They were looking at this totally mullered thing. And up top, the reporters are going like, yeah, they've just got to find the bodies now. What?
Already gone. Communication with the sub was lost just 1 hour and 45 minutes into the descent, and that's early. But the media painted a picture of 5 people trapped, slowly running out of air. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy already knew. They had picked up acoustic signatures of an implosion on the day it went missing.
Waiter, can you compare them to sardines next? Jolly good. It was like a game show.
And yet, the search continued.
Wait, what was that?
On the day it went missing. Yet,
that was the end of it. 5 lives snuffed out like that. Oh.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Cheats ended up like the bottom of their toilets too.
Thank you for the super chat, Banana Bender.
research continued. The public was strung along, maybe even the families were. I would be super curious to know that. On June 22nd, they found debris near the Titanic. The Coast Guard confirmed catastrophic implosion. A few days later, they claimed to recover debris and presumed human remains. And that's where things start to fall apart. Section 2 is titled The Victims. So let's talk about...
Dude, the problem with terms like that is that when we think of human... I'm trying to be serious now, okay? John's like, what's that? Hold on, I think it would cry for help, dude. When you think of human remains, you think of at least some semblance of a body, right? You think, even if like a body's been cut to bits or something, you think of some flesh. You think of flesh at least. Some sort of semblance of flesh is there. You think of like RoboCop, and he's got like the face, and he's got the brain, a few innards inside, you know, something like that at least. Even that. But in this case, it was like there was nothing. There was nothing. Oh, okay. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say.
About the 5 lives lost.
Butter
Not just as
chicken.
names, but as stories. Stockton Rush, CEO of Ocean Gate, known for pushing boundaries, once said, "Safety is a pure waste." Alrighty then. Hamish Harding, billionaire, adventurer. He had been to space. Paul Henry Nargelet, sorry if I say these incorrectly, but he was a Titanic expert, former Navy diver called Mr. Titanic. And
Okay. So obviously the company misled them in terms of the safety. And it looked kind of professional. But like, if someone is a professional, if someone has done it before, would they not take a little look round and go, yeah, this seems a bit fucking weird? Because even just looking at some of the videos, when they were fucking going in there and like showing what he was doing before it all happened, it just seemed like everything was kind of duct taped together, you know? Because the thing is as well, there was I remember there had been a debate about the controller, right?
Depressed people.
Can you imagine spending this much money to make a human juicer?
Yeah, okay, dude. Thank you for the $5. Like the controller thing.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
I care if he dies. I'm saying chat is racist. I was actually commenting on chat's racism, but thank you for the chat, super chat, PD. Because the controller, people were saying like, oh, well, that's what they use in the American military, and it's like, yeah, for what is it? For like a sort of drone thing that isn't like life-saving, if
Okay,
that makes
that's
sense,
wonderful.
right?
But how do I make money off depressed people?
So you found remains? Can you explain what you mean by that? Well, the water just felt a little soupy. Like a soup. Warm red soup.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you for the
wonderful.
super chats,
But how
guys.
do I make money
Oh my god, I
off
can't believe you
depressed
guys are
people?
I'm going to hell, sardines.
Thank you guys for the support. Yes, exactly. They use those for drones, not to control ships that can mean life or death. Yeah, they're not there with a fucking controller flying a jet around or something, right? They're using actual quality hardware, equipment that has been designed specifically for that purpose and, you know, engineered to like a fine degree of accuracy. And he's using it to drive this fucking boat around. Right? Like, no, you should be using actual proper kit and equipment, not some fucking shitter Bluetooth controller. And even if they're using the military, it's for an unmanned drone or something like that, where if something crashes, it doesn't mean someone dies.
Shahzada Dawood, businessman, philanthropist, and his son Sul.
But it was, you know, and you're right, that wasn't like a big deal in the grand scheme of things. There were other bigger issues, but it was just indicative of the way in which this guy had gone about creating this submarine. And it was just indicative of the fact that he had cut corners and basically like MacGyvered. I think that's a term you Americans would be familiar with, right? Basically jerry-rigging. There's another term for that I can't say, but jerry-rigging. Everything's jerry-rigged. And it's the idea that, you know, surely you would notice that. Even if the person's telling you all this shit, you would be a bit like, oh, well, this seems a bit silly, that seems a bit silly, da-da-da-da-da, you know?
Dawood, just 19, allegedly was terrified to go. That's terrifying. He did it to bond with his dad for father.
Oh, he bonded with his dad, all right. The final moments together, they were very
Okay,
close.
that's wonderful. But how do I make
So like
money
this,
off
bro,
the
like
press?
this.
Look at that sweet little
Dude, such-
Shame.
Many say they became one in their final moments together. Damn.
Day.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I'm a
How do I
mortician.
make money off depressed people?
King Mustang became a member. King Mustang celebrates 3 months of membership. Hello, I am under the water. Please help me. India emoji, ocean wave emoji, collision emoji, mind blown emoji, will to flower emoji.
Thank you for the membership, King Mustang, and thank you for the super chat, Banana Bender. Appreciate it. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to the soup example, okay? Let's say that I poured out a tin of tomato soup in front of you. What chance do you think you'd have of separating out the individual tomatoes that went into that soup? Right? That's what we're dealing with here. That's all I'm saying, okay?
And teenagers aren't supposed to be on my table. But death doesn't care how old you are, or how rich you are, or how smart. Section
Okay,
3
that's
is
wonderful.
titled
But
How
how do I
Deep
make
Sea
money off
Disasters
depressed people?
BC74SJ became a
Hey,
member.
thank you for the membership.
Destroy bodies. Now, let's talk about what actually happens to a human body when it implodes.
Yes!
12,500
Now we're
feet
talking.
equals 5,500
Ooh.
psi. That's like placing a commercial jet's weight on every square inch of your body. Your lungs
Dude, that is insane, bro. The visualizations are making this for me. A commercial jet on every inch of your body. Fuck me.
collapse, your organs flash boil, blood vaporizes, bones obliterated. In less than 20 milliseconds, you're gone. Not injured, not even crushed. You cease to exist in a recognizable form. And yes, I still stand by my original comparison. Do you remember in The Little Mermaid?
I did, but okay, I don't know what it is about the way it's being presented to me. It's just so deranged. It's like, you know, I think it's because I'm just imagining this being said to a widow this plainly. That's what I find funny about it. The idea of having to listen to this if you know one of the people inside it, you know. It's just so excessive and extreme, isn't it?
Mermaid, when Ursula accidentally zaps Flotsam and Jetsam and they explode into sparkly little fish flakes. That's the visual. Dramatic, yes, but accurate. That is what I...
Oh my god, dude, yes! Dude, I'm telling you, this. I thought this woman might be a bit upset if the thought of me reacting like this to a talk mess. I think she's on the same lines as me. I think we've got a similar vision on this one. Into little silver flakes. Dude, can I play it without getting content ID'd? I just want to quickly show you.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
There is something seriously wrong with you. Don't stop.
Thank you very much for the super chats. Where is it exactly? Hang on. Is this it? When you see the visuals, man, it's just it's so good, dude. When you see, this is what she's describing right now. Listen again.
Ursula accidentally zaps Flotsam and Jetsam and they explode into sparkly little fish flakes. That's
This is what she's talking about. This moment. Dude, that's what she means. Oh my god, dude, that's what she's talking about. Isn't that deranged? Isn't that like a deranged way of talking about it? Oh, she said it, not me. Bro, that's her, not me. I'm just showing you. I'm just, you know. Don't shoot the messenger, as they say. Don't shoot the messenger. So let's watch. Let's just you know, this is just to really hammer the point home. Wait, dude, wait. Wait, there's a bit you've got to see. You've got to see their faces. You've got to see their little faces there. You've got to see their faces, dude. Come on, where's the faces? Dude, where's the faces? Come on. Dude. Oh, dude, that's the last thing you saw. Looking at the other guy in the tube. Oh, oh. That's the last thing. Oh my god, dude. Look at it, dude. That's the last thing. That's the last thing you see. Looking across the way as you realise it's the end. The walls are closing in, literally. And that's the last thing you see. Oh. I'm in tears. What is wrong with me, dude? I don't know what. Is it? Am I just deranged in this? I think that's what she's described, that process. And then you capture this. You see this out the corner of your eye. This has been animated in the movie too. Oh, oh my god, dude! Imagine that, man. Imagine that. Crazy to think about. Okay, come on. Let's get through the red. We're already halfway through.
It's the visual. Dramatic, yes, but accurate. That is what I envision.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Section 4,
But how
the
do I
deep
make
sea's
money
role
off
in
depressed
decomposition.
Just call him Floyd cause he can't breathe.
Thank you for the super chats. Appreciate it.
Even if anything survived the implosion, the ocean would not have left it intact for long. Salt water strips skin, dissolves tissues. Freezing temperatures slow decomposition, but not scavenging, not scavengers, if you get where I'm going with that. Deep sea scavengers, amphipods, hagfish, can strip soft tissue in under 4 days. Adipocere,
Oh my God,
that
bro.
waxy fat preserving substance, possible in shallow water, but not here. If you had
They
anything
got picked. What was left, so they got picked apart by the fishies. This woman is deranged. This woman is totally deranged. I can't believe she's explaining it to this minute detail.
left after all of that implosion, it would be gone by the time the ROVs got there. Section 5 is titled Historical Underwater Deaths. This wasn't the first time a vessel went deep down in deep water, and it sure won't be the last. If we really want to understand what happens to a human body in a deep sea disaster, we have to look back at the other times it's happened.
Definitely. I
Smoking
concur.
Guru became a member. Smoking
Oh my
Guru
God,
celebrates
dude. Okay.
14 months of membership. Actual typical marine biologist.
Thank you
Okay, that's
for the
wonderful.
membership. I'm
But how
fine
do I
now.
make
I'm
money
relaxed.
off depressed people.
Thank you very much for this chat. Let's just let's just hope that none of the victims' families ever see that what just happened there. That was horrendous. I feel very guilty about it now.
Because, spoiler alert, bodies don't usually make it back. Let's start with the USS Thresher, a US Navy nuclear submarine. It was undergoing deep dive tests off the coast of Massachusetts when something went catastrophically wrong. The sub sank to over 8,000
Okay, that's
feet.
wonderful.
That's
Whoa.
not
But
as
how do
deep
I
as the
make
Now
money?
Titan.
that is sardines. That is a
Once
sardine
again,
comparison there.
Chud is gonna wonder why he went from a 50k follower channel back to being a follower shitter channel and say what the? Carrot emoji.
Carrot emoji indeed. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, I do. I've got it all out of my system now, okay? This seems like more serious historical analysis now.
But deep enough? All 129 crew members were killed, and not a single intact body was ever recovered. What did they recover? Fragments, metal, pieces of equipment, but nothing that resembled a human being. If
Nothing-
that
nothing.
sounds familiar,
Nothing.
it should. The Thresher
So I'm guessing the bones are also affected by this then, to take all serious points. So even your bones are going to get, like, destroyed. Because the thing is, with the Titanic, it is more understandable because you're like, right, okay, they've been there for, what was it? Like 70 years, I think, before they were discovered, and we got the first footage of the Titanic wreck. So, they're going to be long gone. But even in the course of a couple of days, your bones are gone. He bones around my too.
Exploded, just like the Titan. Then there's the Kursk, a Russian nuclear sub that exploded and sank in the Barents Sea. It wasn't as deep, about 300.
Ma'am, your husband was reduced to an unrecognizable mess by the forces of the ocean. We've highlighted this timestamp in The Little Mermaid to best describe what happened to him. Oh my god, dude. Oh. Come on. Dude, come on. Oh, come
50
on.
feet,
Focus.
but the aftermath was devastating. 118 sailors died. And the horrifying part, some of them survived the initial explosion. That's horrible. They were alive in the dark, freezing compartments waiting for rescue, which never came.
They're Russian. I don't want to say orc. That's a bit racist, isn't it? But yeah, damn, that's pretty. I mean, that is horrible. That's horrible, isn't it? If you're Ukrainian, you'd probably be celebrating that, but I wouldn't, because I think every human is, fundamentally equal. But dude, I mean, you think about what would you do? What would you do if you're in that situation? Like, you're fucked. You just sit there and read a book or something. I don't know. Just fucking. Well, you probably couldn't. It's too dark. Too dark to read a book. You just have to sit there in your thoughts, thinking about how you're gonna die soon. Fuck me, dude. It's horrible to think about.
When divers finally reached them days later, it was too late. Bodies were recovered, but not all. Some were unrecoverable, even at that depth.
What is there to describe, dude? Just sat there, cold, desperate, shivering, at the bottom of the ocean. Probably softly sobbing as the walls as the pressure of the ocean gently pushes the walls into them in a way that it's dark, so you can't see, but you can feel. You feel, is that wall getting a bit closer? What the fuck? And then it just slowly presses upon you until either you're crushed between, presumably, the steel walls of the submarine, or it gets to a point where there's some sort of breach and the water floods in, and you just immediately are atomized. One of the two, probably, I would say, is what would happen there. Yeah, just the groans and creaks of the steel trying to contend against the pressures of the deep sea. Terrible, terrible business. That's why I'm never getting on a submarine. Fuck that.
50 feet, and it wasn't even a pressure implosion like the Titan. If we couldn't bring back everyone from 350 feet, what are the odds at 12,500? Then there's Air France.
Yeah, dude, why weren't they more real with them? Listen, have you heard about the Kursk? Let me tell you about the Kursk. These wretched sailors were trapped beneath the ocean, and you're fucking, even if they're still alive, they're trapped at orders of magnitudes worse than that. So they're definitely fucked. I wouldn't fucking bother being hopeful. They're probably dead already. Why were they not more real?
447. In 2009, the plane disappeared over the Atlantic. It wasn't found for 2 years, even with global search efforts. The wreckage was 13,000 feet deep, deeper than the Titanic. Some remains were recovered, but many were never found. And that was a commercial airliner with pressurization, with more structure than the Titan ever had. And finally, we have Malaysia Airlines Flight 370.
I remember this.
In 2014, possibly over the Indian Ocean. It's still missing. Hundreds of lives lost.
Bro, Das Boot, that's such a depressing movie. I don't know if I've ever watched the full version, right? But it's about, like a German U-boat. You might like it if you're a Nazi, because they tell it from they tell a positive spin, more so from the Nazi side, I guess. Well, it's at least their side of it, you should say, if not positive. But anyway, spoiler alert, they get back at the end, right? They're all like, yeah, we survived. And then they get bombed by the Allies, and they die. Right? I'm pretty sure that's how it ends, isn't it? They're just looking shocked as the Allied planes are coming towards them, and they just get bombed to bits. Very depressing. Very depressing movie. Tragic.
No confirmed wreckage
I'm not funny about
until
that.
a
Come on,
wing.
guys, come on. I'm not gonna laugh about a bunch of military men, a bunch of honourable military men getting killed
Okay,
like
that's
that in a
wonderful.
cowardly
But how
fashion.
do I make money off depressed people?
MH370 was a CIA job. Just putting that out there. It was likely aimed to blame on China.
Thank you, Banana Bender, for the $5 Australian. Appreciate it. Das Boot. Das Boot is the name of it, right?
A wing of the plane washed ashore about a year later, and no human remains were ever recovered, not a single one. What all of these cases show, military, civilian, submarine, plane, is that the ocean does not return
Oh,
its...
dude, that's true. 11th of June. I already know the date. There's a new documentary dropping. I'll be watching the shit out of that. Gleefully with popcorn.
dead. Not completely, not cleanly, and not in one piece. And in few cases where something was recovered, it was partial. DNA fragments, bone shards, never a full body, and certainly not after an implosion. Death at that depth isn't just physical destruction, it's erasure. It will erase you from the planet. And when family...
You've been erased. Your husband's been erased. Oh my god, dude. Erased. Just erased. That's a new one. You've been erased. Bro, that's a movie. That's an Arnie movie. The Eraser. Dude, yes. You remember that movie? What's the guy's name? He's got a really cool sounding name. Like all the movies. And they've got the fucking, like, the rail guns. And, you know, he's like a US Marshal that erases people's identities and shit.
Families are left without remains, without answers. They're forced to grieve a ghost. So when officials say they found presumed human remains from the Titan, I say, show me where that's ever happened before. Section 6 is titled Body Recovery Logistics. So what happens in a mass casualty recovery at sea? ROVs, I'm calling them roves, collect debris and anything suspicious. Fragments are bagged, tagged,
yes.
sometimes even swabbed for DNA.
That's what we were looking at earlier. Dude, I was right about the piles of garbage.
If there's any left. Medical examiners analyze for tissue, bone, DNA trace. Sometimes a funeral is held.
Good news. Good news. We found your husband remains. I can't see anything. What are you talking about? Oh no, he's in this Petri dish here. He's in there. He's got a couple of... He's on this. What's that? What are the glass things called that you put in the microscope? You know, the little glass, like, rectangle things. Just he's one of those. What are they called? The glass slides. The glass slides you put on a microscope. Don't worry, we got a perfect sized coffin, and it's just this tiny little coffin.
Okay, that's
it's
wonderful.
like that
But
big.
how do I make
Just
money
put the
off the
slide in
Go
and
find pictures
flip
of
the lid,
Balfour
and there we
in a
go.
dolphin accident if you want to see what underwater whoopsie
Oh my
daisies
god,
look
dude.
like.
Why? Just trying to save your costs. Listen, if you want to get a full size one, that's up to you. But this is gonna be tremendously cheap to bury. So every cloud. Oh my god, what the fuck, dude?
With a sealed casket containing only symbolic items. I've prepared empty caskets filled with nothing but a favorite hoodie. I've cremated love letters when there was no body to burn. Because when there's nothing left, we bury what we can. So let's circle back to the phrase,
no need to make it so bleak.
Presumed human remains. It made headlines. But what does that even mean? There was no autopsy report, no specific remains described. Was it bone? A piece of tissue? DNA from a zipper? They never said. And maybe that's the point.
I mean, to be completely serious, what are they supposed to say, dude? Like, come on, dude.
Good news, we found his remains. Just hands her a cup of seawater. He's got to be in there. Somewhere. A little bit.
It's like fucking homeopathy for dead body. 1 part per million he's in there, okay? Trust us. Stick it in a bottle and put it on your mantelpiece or something. Imagine it's like ashes. Make sure no one drinks it, though. Okay, dude. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, the problem with the media, to make a serious point, okay, is that they teed it up in such an insane way that you couldn't really go anywhere from that, right? Because, like, like the way you're describing it, it sounds to me very funny, but obviously sounds horrendous. So what the fuck are the media supposed to say at that point when they've teed it up like that? They're going to just use vague terms. Because they're not going to want to say, yeah, there's a shred of a piece of DNA on a petri dish in a lab somewhere that we found. That's off of a fucking piece of steel that his face blended into when it imploded. They obviously can't say that, can they?
Media needed closure after that whole media circus storm they had us go through. The families needed peace. The public needed a headline. But when you work with the dead, you just know when something's off. And this felt like PR. Section 8 is titled,
Okay, that's
What
wonderful.
If This
But
Happened
how do I
to
make
You?
money
I mean, I'm
off
not getting in
depressed
that
people?
We're sorry, Mom, but your husband has turned into a single-celled organism.
Thank you for the super chat.
No.
Dude,
When
I'm telling you, this woman is thinking along the same lines, even though she's being a bit more serious in how she's presenting it. She's definitely along the same
something's
lines.
off. And this felt like
You said you have my husband's remains? Yes, ma'am, hold this flask. She takes a swig. So where are the remains? You had just drank them. Oh. Dude, I don't even... Dude. I don't know what's wrong with me in this segment, dude. I knew that I'd have a bit of a laugh with it, but I've gone really far. I don't regret anything. I'm not apologising, obviously. I just recognise I've gone quite far.
PR. Section 8 is titled, What If This Happened to You? I mean, I'm not getting in that sub, but I mean,
that's
hypothetically,
wonderful. But
what
how do
if
I
this
make
happened to you?
money
You're
off depressed people?
Peacefully telling
What's
families
that?
that their loving father looks like he got hit by a halo needle.
Okay, that's
super
wonderful.
blind.
But how do I
Thank
make
you, Alan, for
money
the tip.
off depressed people?
Bottoms up.
Thank you, Banana Better, for the super chat.
12,000 feet down, the lights are dim, the air is thin.
Okay, that's wonderful.
The hull
But how do I
creaks,
make
you hear a
money
pop.
off depressed people?
How the fuck is she describing it? Slept with you on Dreamt Theories, now I know. Thank you, Batman.
Nothing. No pain, no panic, you're just gone. It's the fastest way to die, and the hardest kind of death for families to mourn, because there's nothing left to hold or say goodbye to. So final thoughts here. 2 years later, I still don't believe
So bleak, dude.
full human remains were ever recovered. Maybe there was a DNA swab, maybe a fabric scrap, but a body, no.
It's getting worse. It's a swab. It's a fucking Q-tip. Cotton bud, as we'd call it. It's just a It's just a Q-tip,
Okay, that's
bro.
wonderful.
It's
But
just
how do
a
I make
Q-tip
money
now.
off depressed
That's all
people?
you've
Does
got.
the human sludge taste like curry is the real question.
Oh, that's gross and racist. But thank you for the super chat nonetheless.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
I think what makes it funnier is that she's playing it so straight. It feels like an episode of Arrested Development.
Thank you, Lord of War, for the super chats.
No, absolutely not. The ocean doesn't give you back what it takes. And as a mortician, I don't need the paperwork to know when a body's gone. So thank you for watching. And if you want more death deep dives, subscribe for more. Leave your questions in the comments. And remember, death doesn't lie, but sometimes people do. And the media definitely
Okay, that's
does.
wonderful. But how do
Okay.
I make money off depressed people?
The worst is probably the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor. They could hear people tapping from the inside for days before they all died. Over 1,100 guys.
That's just tragic. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, I don't know what came over me, but hopefully you had fun with that. I think that's probably a second channel segment, I reckon. I didn't expect it to be. I thought it would literally just be a palate cleanser, but I couldn't stop laughing about the thought of a bunch of these people getting erased from existence like that. If you think that was deranged, you should have seen my segment talk about that politician that killed himself that got me a fucking slap on the wrist from YouTube. Now, fortunately, there's no suicide involved in this. So I think I'm completely okay to just say what I want about it.
Okay, that's
Fingers
wonderful.
crossed.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Okay. Right, I've got about 20 minutes before I'm going. So I need something I need something relaxing to cover to calm down. I need to self-soothe after that segment. Thank you, Batman, for the super chats.